Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Cinema Syndicate, a podcast where we discuss animated movies, shorts, and other things. Today I'm here with Jacob
Hello.
and Etho.
Hello.
Today we're going to be discussing two animated features, the short Bunny, which is a 1998 production by Bluesky Studios, and then we're going to be discussing the film Open Season, which is a 2006 film by Sony Animation. So Jacob, I'm going to bring it over to you.
Yes. So I was the one who, first off, we're going to start with the animated short on here. So we're starting with Bunny. My rationale behind this is that a lot of animated movies will start out with like a short film and then go into the actual feature. I think that would be a fun thing for the podcast to discuss an unrelated short film and then go into the actual feature. So I chose the short film for this week, so I decided, since like this is our first podcast, technically fourth, but those other episodes are lost. But I wanted to do like the first thing that Bluesky ever did, mostly because I think it's really interesting how this differs from the majority of their filmography, and I just think it's a really cool short to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoyed Bunny. We just watched it. And it was a really interesting short for a studio that later becomes like a endearing children's animation studio.
And like Bluesky tend to aim a little younger than the other studios, especially with like the Ice Age sequel specifically. So it's interesting like how like kind of mature, adult oriented like their first short is. It's still kid friendly enough to be on the DVD of Ice Age.
It seems like it shouldn't be though.
Yeah, no.
I can see that.
This gives me the vibes. I feel like other people shared this experience with me because the first time I watched this I was always the kid who'd like get a DVD and like go through all the special features as a kid, like a nerd. And this was on the Ice Age DVD, and I think like I was watching this like late night. It was just like weird. I didn't understand any of the context. I think I was like 5 at the time, but it was just kind of captivating. I definitely watched it a few times as a kid. I didn't really go back to it until like years later and thinking like maybe I looked up Bluesky or something and I was like, oh yeah, Bunny, that feature. That's an interesting one.
It's definitely a talking piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen this short, I think, once before, but it's been a very long time since I've seen it. And I think I never watched it on the original Ice Age DVD. I just saw it browsing YouTube one day.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it's a very interesting piece from Bluesky Studios, especially for their first, feature piece.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of it, Etho?
It was I'd never seen it until like you said, hey, watch this, and I said, okay. I watched it and I was like, well, the one thing that bothered me, I guess, is just like the moths just look so large to me. I understand they're supposed to be moths, but they're big old caterpillars with wings.
So here's the thing. Here's like how I view that. Rabbits are very small.
Sure.
I think it's in scale to like that rabbit. I don't think it's a particularly big moth. I just think the character is smaller than we actually think.
I mean, that makes like
sense.
logical sense.
Yeah.
That makes logical sense why they're large, yes.
Yeah. But,
Yeah, I agree with that. I think everything was kind of meant to be to scale. Although, like, when she was, like, grating, like, carrots and stuff.
Oh, yeah, those would have been small carrots.
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe she...
Animation is for the mind's eye.
I think it was such a surreal piece that the size of the moths, perhaps it didn't really cross the animator's mind.
It's kind of creepy, and, like, I think I like that about the moth.
It had a cute meaning. It's fun. It just, that's the thing that was striking to me the most, is that it was just like, what is that supposed to be?
What is this weird moth? I think I just like, I love the atmosphere on this movie. It's why it's kind of stuck with me. Just that, like, I think it's kind of non-verbal, like a lot of the Pixar movies were, but it's kind of like heavy shadow, kind of like a melancholy like subject matter with death. This movie's kind of vague, but I interpret it as like this old lady rabbit like passing away and being reunited with her husband. I think there's more to that, but I think that's kind of basically what I think is going on in this.
Yeah. Also, just a disclaimer for every one of our podcasts: it is going to be straight spoiler alerts for every one of the films. So if you haven't seen them, I don't recommend watching these before that.
It's also 7 minutes on YouTube. I can't promise that for every short, and definitely not every movie, but
yeah,
this one.
But yeah, this one. It's interesting they chose a topic of death to go with. It's not a topic often. I mean, I guess it is. I mean,
it's done like a lot.
It's
done a lot,
but
in general, like not for.
I mean, in all honesty, not showing climbing into an oven as this form of.
They chose a very interesting representation.
Yeah, so like that was weird. I think I've come to terms about this not being like. When I first rewatched this, I thought they were maybe going with like themes of suicide or something, just because that's like such a visually striking image, and that's kind of like an old-timey way.
Yeah.
Ovens are like a lot safer now, so people don't do that, but I found it like very weird and like shockingly dark that they went in that direction.
Yeah. I think, like, to me, the oven was kind of a representation of, like, how she had been living for so long. Like, it seemed like they were kind of trying to show that, like, since her husband had died, she had been baking, like, over and over again, because that was, like, the only thing left that, like, really brought her joy.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, so, like, I think the oven is kind of a representation of, like, getting lost in what you're doing, as she, passes away.
Yeah.
So, but, I mean, it is a very interesting way to choose a character, to represent a character's death as well.
Yeah,
especially in a short that is portrayed on a kid's film.
Yeah, to be fair, I think I'm wrong about this interpretation, and I also don't think it's anything like a kid would ever figure out.
Mm-hmm.
But like I think because I also watched the commentary for this, and Chris Wedge, who directs it, he was talking about like how his interpretation was like. The moth is like an angel kind of guiding her into the afterlife.
Yeah.
I think that's a much more consistent theory. It's just like the iconography of like putting your head in the oven makes me question if there's more to that or not. By the way, I don't want to like stay on this topic like too long. It's a very heavy topic, but like
no,
it's just.
It was an interesting choice by the animators for sure, but I do agree. The moth definitely came across as like an angel or like a representation of death coming to her. To me, like because you can see it's kind of nagging at her, and then it was interesting how she like how they portray like how angry she is, with the moth and everything at first, and it was just kind of it's an interesting way to show how frustrating it can be. Growing old and, watching your loved ones pass away. It just kind of a really, like, it had a lot of raw character development for being a 7-minute film. Like, you could really understand what the character's emotions were and what she was going through in that short period.
Yeah, I think just in terms of, like, making the short exciting, I think, like, that anger, like, drives a ton of the, like, animation, the character animation, especially, I think, like, just her, like, mashing the moth into the bowl, like, over and over, like, it's very quick, like, more so than other animation.
Well, they even kind of, subtly foreshadow it by showing her, like, grating the carrots quickly and doing other things, like, really quickly,
It took me a few viewings to realize she was making carrot cake.
She's a bunny, that makes sense.
Once I caught it, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I will say, at first I thought she was making, like, soup or something, and I'm like, oh, wait, no, she's baking.
The first part, she's, like, sifting flour, so, like, I knew that she was doing something, like, baking-wise.
Yeah.
Because she's just, like, using a big old flour sifter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love how, like, her cooking in the animation, like I mentioned with the character animation, how it gets more frantic. Even before that, it's kind of cool to look at, like, just, I don't know if it's a thing with the frame rate or maybe it's just, like, that kind of it being like early CG, but it just kind of looks cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they did the environment, like, they created they did well with the environment. They created a very visual mood for you to see, and they did really well with picking colors and kind of balancing the whole scene out so that, you would get this really cool kind of moody, kind of creepy, eerie visual effect, because it is kind of an eerie film. Like, you're going into like kind of a rough topic, and like it is kind of you're trying to portray how kind of scary and frustrating it all is leading up to it.
Yeah, it's definitely like eerie, like especially like towards the end, like there's that shot where she's climbing through the oven into the afterlife, and it's like so claustrophobic, and like she's trying to get through. I'm a person who has terrible claustrophobia, so I love any time in a movie because it actually makes things scary. So, kind of, and then also just like that kind of catharsis in the afterlife. I think it's a nice scene. I think it's a nice depiction of an afterlife. Like,
Yeah.
The moth wings instead of the angel wings, and it's kind of the bright light and all the kind of choreographed moths. It looks really good.
I mean, I like the end scene where it shows the her and her husband like cuddling up together. It's like a nice little.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Bow on the
it gives
end.
it gives a conclusion of like easement is like the
Well, because there was the one scene in there where the moth was just like slapping into the husband's picture on the wall, just the husband's side.
Yeah.
And I did originally, when I watched this, think that the rabbit was the husband at first, and I was like very confused. But then I was like, oh no, that's the wife. I got it now. But
I kind of like how like in kind of a lot of older animated movies, it's like you'd have like the male animal, and they would just be like the ones who would like have plain feature, and to get a female animal, like they have a bow or something. I like in this one, it's the woman who is like kind of has plain features, but like the man's identified because he has a top hat.
They definitely did I do agree, like, they definitely do, like, an interesting, like, visual take when the moth is kind of slapping into the husband. And, like, that's to me where, like, I got the visual representation that this was representing death, because it's, like, showing, oh, like, you're going to go where your husband is at this point.
Yeah. I also think just, like, the husband being there is, like, I think that's really, because we didn't really talk about it, but it's, like, kind of concrete, like, the visuals of like that's kind of how you realize what's going on.
Well, it's also like when it's hitting into the husband, it's also could be it's a representation of like her going to meet him, but also like maybe him in that, if you're thinking like afterlife kind of a thing, like him reminding her like, don't be angry, this is me reminding you like I'm here, it's okay.
They're trying to show her and comfort her. Like,
yeah, but like she doesn't understand.
Yeah,
she's just frustrated. So
yeah, she Yeah, overall, I think it's a really well animated short for the, it's aged really well, I think.
Yeah, I think it has. I think I like looking at it as like a contrast to like kind of Blue Sky in their heyday. Again, I think stuff like the Ice Age sequels, like Rio, like seem to be aimed like a little younger than most movies. And so it's cool to see like this style, this animation studio, kind of going back to like a little more of a mature topic with it. It's funny, like going like straight into Ice Age. Like I feel like this design like would work in the world of Ice Age of the bunny.
Yeah,
but like
it kind of has I don't know, like I kind of compare it to like kind of like. I don't want to say like it looks like Scrat. But
I was gonna say that.
You can put Scrat in.
Yeah,
like I
mean, you can see the visual style that Blue Sky later translates into Ice Age in that film.
Yeah, it's just like tonally Ice Age is such a different thing. They want to go in like a very Looney Tunes direction with that movie compared to this. But yeah, and it's just like Blue Sky kind of being like closed down prematurely, like with the Disney acquisition. Like they were kind of getting into a direction where they could have made something similar with this, like like with Nimona starting to tackle more mature themes and
Yeah.
everything, but it didn't really happen. And we all lament Blue Sky, I think.
Yeah. Rip, R.I.P. Now it's been sucked in, or
It's been
sucked in by Disney and faded away.
Yes, it got sucked into the Disney oven. It got sucked into
The visuals.
Jeez.
Got sucked into the Disney claustrophobia oven.
Yes.
Oh no.
Anyway, unless anyone else has anything more to say, should we go on to the main feature?
Yeah, I think I think we covered the piece pretty well.
All right.
You have anything else, Ito?
No. I think we had all the talking points of it to like really understand and give the different perspectives.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, Jamie, you chose the movie. What movie did we chose to speak of?
So I chose the movie Open Season for our main feature. Open Season is a movie that I remember seeing as a kid. And I did not like this movie as a kid. And part of the reason why I chose it because I haven't seen it in so long, so I've just completely forgotten most things about it. But yeah, I hadn't seen this movie, or I didn't like this movie when I was a kid. And I think it was a lot to do with the visual style of the movie. Like, to me, I didn't like how the characters were designed. It was also, like, it was in the early age of CG movies or 3D movies, and, like, I don't know, to me, like, it looked so different from 2D animation, and I was such a huge 2D animation fan as a kid that it just, like, it didn't appeal to me too much. But, you know, I think watching it recently, like, well, today, I guess, but watching it now, I appreciate the visual style a lot more, and I think it's actually, I honestly think this movie has held up, you know, a lot better than I thought it had.
yeah, really. I watched it back and I had it on DVD, so like I am the stark opposite of like I really liked this movie because I had it on DVD and I would just if I had a DVD I liked, I would just watch that movie over and over and over again. I also had younger siblings that I would just make watch this movie over and over again. It was the same with like Stitch 2 and a bunch of other movies, but like watching it again, I'm like, oh yeah, those funny things I used to say all the time and annoy people with. I remember them now. Because it has some little quirky things in it that like I definitely remember repeating constantly and people being very annoyed that I repeated them constantly.
Anyway, so I feel like I have the opposite reaction as Jamie, where I think as a kid, like I was really into like CG animation, and I think I didn't like love this one, but I definitely like watched it and rented it a few times. But I kind of like as I grew older, like every time I'd like think about this movie, which is not often, I'd be like, it probably doesn't age well. And then I watched it for this podcast, and I don't think it aged that well. I know.
Really?
Yeah, I
Not
mean,
really.
I think more so. So I half agree with you. I don't think the humor and the story has aged well, but
Yeah.
I do think the visuals, at least some of them, have aged a lot better than I thought they would have. Like a lot of the, especially one thing that I like to comment on is like a lot of the background scenery was what really surprised me.
That was in my note. I did see like a lot of good background art. I don't think the CG is incompetent in this movie. It's just not very interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
it's very early. It's rigid. You know, it's very
rigid.
early to the.
But there's like an art design to something like Shrek or Ice Age.
Yeah.
I think it's more captivating than this one.
It was pretty plain.
It definitely wasn't like amazing, but it was Sony Animation Studio's first animation, so like you know, I give it some pushback from there. But like, I don't know. I just feel like some like visually, I feel like it's still, you know, it didn't age to where like it's unwatchable anymore, because you know some CG like animation watch today and it's just like it's horrible. But it's, you know, it doesn't compare visually to other. I think there's other animated movies at the time, especially if you're watching like Pixar or something, that ages so much better. But I think for a first studio animation, it's not horrible. And you can definitely. My main thing is that you can definitely see where Sony Animation was trying to develop its style in this movie.
Yeah, I like. We mentioned the background art. I think we really get a showcase of that when like they bring Boog to the forest for the first time. You kind of see the background. It's almost like a 2D like matte painting almost.
Yeah.
And it kind of made me think like, is this like the very, very early seeds of like Spider-Verse, K-pop Demon Hunter, like mixed media stuff that Sony is doing nowadays? I think it's a stretch, but I think if there's a line you want to draw between open season and Spider-Verse, I think that's it.
Line you want to draw. How far are we?
Yeah, I mean, well, Spider-Verse was animated by a kind of a completely different studio, but like, I mean, that's another thing to get into. But like, I'd say like that you can definitely tell the background art is completely CG, but it's like it's arranged in a way visually in which like it looks more 2D to me, especially in a lot of like, you know, far off shots and things like that.
I mean, there's some 3D animated movies where the backgrounds just look like straight up so barren. You don't see any like blended contents in the background, and it's just like, here's a tree. Here's the exact same tree 3 more times, right around the same area, and also here's this again somewhere else.
Yeah, I think like my thing is like it shows how Sony Animation kind of delved into developing this more flat, like 2D looking style as they went on, versus a lot of other animation studios that went into more textured styles. Like Pixar like puts texture on everything.
That's like the main thing keeping them going
Yeah.
right now. I mean,
Wow, look at this texture we have, guys. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like, they get down to, like, every pore on
they
your
have
skin.
like such high fidelity that is, you know what, we'll save this for the Pixar discussion at some point.
It's-
but,
I mean, we could go into that for hours,
Yeah.
but, you know, I feel like this movie, like, it develops such a unique and different style from a lot of animated movies at the time, and it still looks pretty polished and finished in most scenes. There are some scenes you can see that were, like, done up a little quicker, maybe not as well as others, but it definitely, especially in the beginning, looks a lot more polished. I will say this movie, you know, it did seem very rushed.
That's what I was going to say. I was thinking that the whole time I was watching it again. I'm like, damn, this story goes really fast. Like, it just kind of develops and it goes, like, literally, here's a talking point, here's a talking point, here's a talking point, here's the resolution. It's like,
Yeah.
how did we get here?
I do think it kind of weirdly takes its time getting to the forest and the main set pieces.
In the
but
forest,
once it gets to the forest, it's this character, this character, this character,
Yeah,
this character.
fast track to the end. And
this
once he
kind of-
gets there, it's like all fast track to the end.
Well, I actually timed it, and from like the time from the beginning to when they get to the forest, it takes a whole half hour for that to happen.
And this is an 80-minute movie.
Yeah, like it's a long time. But yeah, I mean, I was more saying that it's rushed. It feels rushed in the way of like I feel like the whole production was rushed.
Yeah,
like it was a 4-year production, which is like
that's standard for Pixar at the time, but
it's pretty standard, but it's also it is considered like a relatively shorter time, like for some studios.
If you're starting up a studio, I imagine that'd be a shorter
so
time. Yeah, I do think in terms of like rush animation, sometimes it feels a little under-rendered. I don't know any of the text of the animation,
no,
but like
I completely agree. Like especially towards the end, like when they're doing all the fighting and stuff like that. Like there were definitely scenes that were like not rendered completely, or they were just not rendered correctly.
There was one scene I was thinking of, which is kind of related during like the whole scene where they're fighting the hunters and everything. Like one of them just shouts like "stampede" at like a bunch of deers, and there's only like 12 deers there. And I'm just thinking like, I think his name's Roger Ehlers, but he was one of the co-directors on this and one of the co-directors of Lion King. And all I can think of is like that stampede scene with like a million just CG.
A million wildebeest.
Yeah,
and
a million.
It's like, oh, there's just 12. Dude.
Just 12.
I found it really
more than 12 men. All 12, like more than 12 of them have guns in their hands. It's like, oh no, a stampede of deer.
I find it like really interesting and kind of hilarious that the co-director of Lion King co-directed this.
and like he doesn't have a ton of like credits, but this year, so he did this, and I recently watched his short like Little Match Girl, which is like this very atmospheric, like very tear jerking, like visual heavy short, and it's just like, oh, I guess he did this at the same time as open season.
Yeah.
Interesting. A question I want to ask you, Jamie, is so you pitched this to me, and you said part of the reason you wanted to talk about was you found Jill Cotton to be an interesting figure. I had not heard of her, but is it Cotton or Colton?
It's Colton.
Colton.
Reference here.
Yeah, I saw she did like
Yeah.
some stuff on Pixar.
So Jill Colton, she's an animator. She has an interesting kind of like. She has an interesting filmography. She starts as an animator, and she originally was an animator on The Princess and the Cobbler, which is, you know, an amazing film.
You mean Thief and the Cobbler?
The Princess and the Cobbler is it? No, it's the Princess, or like, yes, it's the Thief and the Cobbler, but it's also called The Princess and the Cobbler.
Oh, okay. That movie's a mess. Like
Yeah.
production-wise.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But yeah, and then she's a story artist on Toy Story. She goes on to be an animator on Cat Stone Dance, Bugs Life, Toy Story 2, a lot of Pixar, a lot of.
I thought she did a lot of work on Monsters Inc.
She did a lot of work on Monsters Inc. She does some work. She goes back and forth between Pixar and DreamWorks quite a bit, and then she ends up at Sony Animations as a director on this movie.
Yeah.
And this is her first movie directed, and I think she only has directed 2 movies in her lifetime. She also created, I believe,
was one of the Pearl Studio movies, wasn't it?
Yeah. So she was the main director on Abominable. Which is a movie that I have not seen.
I have not seen that.
I'm interested in Pearl Studio
I wanted
as
to
a
see that
studio,
one.
but I haven't watched it.
When that movie came out, I was like interested in it, but then I never got around to watching it.
And she's apparently co-directing on a movie coming out in 2028 based on the The Places You'll Go book.
Interesting.
Oh,
Maybe
cute.
we'll get a good Seuss
You know,
adaptation from her.
this is a side thing, but like we really haven't seen after like Horton Hears a Who, we really haven't seen any like Dr. Seuss-esque films, have we?
No, we have. Illumination had
Yeah.
a few.
And
Which
there's
one?
The Cat in the Hat that's coming out this year.
Oh, is
Yeah.
there another Cat in the Hat?
Because
Yeah.
Illumination did Lorax Grinch, and then
Yeah, it's
Oh,
Warner's
Lorax
doing-
came out after Horton Hears. You're right.
And then Warner's has Cat in the Hat right now.
The Cat in the Hat. We'll watch that another time.
No one's ever
For
gonna.
another podcast.
No one's ever
another-
gonna get me with the like live
not
action.
the
Cat in the
live
Hat,
action
dude.
one, but the new animated
The
one.
Yeah,
live
no,
action
yeah, no,
Cat in
I
the
know.
Hat has my whole my whole heart on that. It's so
Actually,
weird.
It's it was quite a fever dream of a movie when I was a kid, but that's not what we're here
Yeah,
to
that's
talk about.
Yeah.
another podcast.
So anyway, like going forward, yeah, she just was like an interesting figure to end up directing a movie at Sony Animation, and like it was kind of cool that she's the director of their first studio animation, which is just really interesting. So
Yeah, no, I think she has a cool filmography behind her. She's definitely, that looks like someone who's worked with like both DreamWorks and Pixar. That seems like if you're starting a new studio, it's like, yeah, she could do it. She can.
yeah. No, but just kind of an inspirational figure in the animation world to be directing this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, where were we? What were we going on about? My brain's in a billion places.
I feel like
Sorry,
this movie is in
I-
a billion places.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. My brain just like jumps to things, and I distract you guys. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, overall opinions about this movie, you know, rewatching it, I think it visually was a lot better than I expected, because let me just tell you, when I was a kid, I hated the designs, especially the designs of the deer. Worst. Honestly, okay, so
the big male deer. I hated his fucking head.
I
His
just don't
stupid
like
ass
any
face.
of them. Like, I don't like if the girl deer has this super skinny neck with super long floppy ears. I don't understand that. And then
That
they
doesn't
have
make any sense.
weird noses and facial features. It's just
They look like they have human teeth.
like they're visually like striking, but like I don't know, it just like isn't visually appealing to
Yeah,
me.
I didn't love any. I think the only character design I liked is like the Scottish squirrel.
Okay, I have here's another thing about this movie that I don't get. Why does every mammal in this movie have super long fingers? If you look at it, the squirrel especially, he's got like a foot-long finger. It's like, I don't understand.
I did not catch this, but I believe
You have to go back and
I
watch that
mean,
scene.
Boog, I get because he has claws,
Yeah,
I
he
guess,
has
but
that.
he has like he has tiny little baby hands,
Well,
and then like
it's him
giant long
and the
claws.
beavers and like all the other mammals. Like they have super long fingers. Like it's kind of weird. But we're getting a reference photo now.
Oh, he do have long fingers.
Yeah, like, why is it so long?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if it's made to represent a claw. Or
Also,
what.
I will say all the different animals had very distinct accents for every single like different
Yeah.
animal,
Yeah.
and not not accents specifically, but a lot of them had accents. Like the dachshund had an accent, the squirrel had an accent, the skunks all had like an accent of sorts.
Yeah.
Like the ducks, I believe, had an accent. Like they all had their
Yeah.
distinct, like different character features there.
Also, did this movie low-key inspire part of Rio? Because, like, a wild animal who's
Yeah, so I was
an exotic animal.
it
so I was
kinda-
like
woman.
watching when I was watching this
It
movie,
kinda-
I was like, I feel like this is ripping something off. And then later I was watching like a little bit of Rio for reference for like the bunny portion of this. And I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is it-
no.
I don't think it's like an idea that's like it's not like a super unique idea.
No.
That's like, okay, and domestic animal has to tough it out in the
Well,
woods.
yeah,
That's
I
not
mean, like, you think of, like, Madagascar, or, like, that
Madagascar.
movie Into the Wild.
Yeah,
which
the-
Oh my
was
god, no one talks
Madagascar.
about that anymore. Jesus Christ.
Fox and the Hound.
Yeah.
like,
The two I kind of came to the conclusion because watching this the first time I was like, I feel like this is kind of ripping something off.
Mm-hmm.
After a few days thinking about it, I came up with like two culprits. One is much more clear than the other. I think the dynamic is very Shrek. It's very Shrek and Donkey, and
Yeah.
I think this movie is very much like everything else, kind of ripping off DreamWorks at the time.
Yeah.
It feels like that dynamic, that humor.
Hey, she worked on Shrek, so that makes sense.
That does make sense.
Well, it's big brooding character and then tiny little skinny annoying character.
Yeah,
That just is the main character.
But I also
Like-
don't know who's the main writer on this.
Yeah,
so.
and then the other thing I was thinking was like Brother Bear, which is I feel like it's kind of if you take like a bear who's like. So it's a bear who like lived a domestic life as a person instead of as a regular bear. Like he's kind of toughing out in the woods. I was thinking of that.
I think
Yeah.
we're connecting too far of a line right here.
I came out in like
I think
2003.
we're just committing to the bear to bear connection there.
Yeah, I think you're taking too much from the bear. I mean, like,
I might
I mean,
be.
I get what you're trying to say.
yeah, I
but-
mean, it could be ripping off from that, but I think that's like
I don't. Okay, I'm not saying it's ripping off. I'm
No,
saying
but
like
you're
I'm
inspirational.
not
Yeah.
even inspiration. It's just like reminding me of that, and
Oh,
like I've
okay.
seen some of this stuff before it's done in these other movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I say this, like even with Shrek, like which I think is way more of an inspiration. Like I don't think it's a rip off of Shrek. I think it's just taking a character dynamic and being less interesting with it.
Yeah, it's doing the like buddy dynamic. They also make a lot of gay jokes in this movie about that dynamic. But
They also made quite a few sexual innuendos, which I was like,
they make a lot of
Oh.
sexual innuendos about the bear and the ranger, and I was like,
yeah,
oh.
and then the weird, the ones who own the dachshund, they just made like very weird innuendos. Like they were like, "Let's go take a dip," and then she walks away. He goes, "It's gonna be a full moon tonight," and he like perks up and walks
Yeah,
off the
that's
screen. I'm
That's
like,
like the DreamWorks thing of
hold
like
on.
just inserting like
Oh.
a lot of like adult humor for it. Like here's the difference between like something like DreamWorks likes and Pixar likes. Pixar's I feel like are kind of keeping things in mind for parents, where I think DreamWorks is more like making jokes like strictly for parents that like the kids like don't
Will
have the
not
context for.
Yeah.
Where I feel like Pixar is kind of making like jokes for everyone to enjoy
It's like
and
jokes
kind of
that-
being sophisticated, but like for kids.
Yeah.
With DreamWorks is like the kids just won't get these jokes, and it kind of feels like it's just doing that to
because
like.
like a lot of the jokes in this movie I didn't understand as a child really until I watched it again today, and I was like, "Oh, That's a little bit of a weird joke to put in this.
Yeah, like, I will say, like, this movie didn't really make me laugh much.
No.
Like, it wasn't a very funny movie to me. Like, the jokes, I think, were definitely geared towards a really young audience.
Yeah.
Or, like, they were, like, just adult jokes that weren't very good.
Yeah.
Well, it's like 2000s, like, here's a poopy joke, here's a, you know.
Yeah, oh, a toilet!
Whoa!
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I will say the funniest character in this movie that did make me laugh was Shaw. I don't know why,
It was just really when
Man,
he went
Shaw
and,
was the-
tackled the
played him?
dachshunds.
Shaw
Like,
was a saving grace in this movie.
he tackles the dachshunds just like
Listen,
I've
at-
saved you guys. He's one of them.
At the end of this movie, that man just literally fist fights a bear. God bless him.
Yeah.
No, it's Gary
Gary
Sinise.
Sinise.
Yeah.
He plays Lieutenant Dan in Forrest
Oh
Gump.
yeah, no, I get
that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I like his like design is like very like Tim Schafer's Psychonauts,
Yeah,
which I
no, I
really
was
like,
getting that
with
too.
the little beady eyes and like I like just all the stuff with him. I love his motivation. It's not that he is just a poacher who doesn't like animals, so he shoots them. He is paranoid that they are going to take over, and that's why he wants to kill them all. And I'm like, go for it.
I like the,
Like, his character plot just goes from 0 to 100 so
0 to
fast.
100.
it was like, oh, I hit a deer. I'm a hunter, and then he sees the deer walking on. He sees Boog like break the thing, and he's like, I mean, no one's gonna believe me because no one saw what I saw. And then he like sees Elliot walking on. He's like, he walks like a man.
Like a
He
man.
starts driving
Oh, I
after him.
love, like, one of my favorite jokes is the line when he says, "Come here, you sissy walking latte drinker," or something like
Oh,
that.
okay. In the same response, I have written here where he's like insulting the park ranger owner, and one of the insults he tells her is veggie burger, and I'm going to insult all
Veggie
vegans
burger.
with that insult now. It's my favorite insult. But yeah, I think the one like scene in this movie where I feel like everything is executed like very well and it's getting the emotion that's trying to get is like the scene in Shaw's cabin. Like,
Yeah.
I think
That
I don't.
scared me as it.
Yeah.
Like, it was very like. It was scary to me to have that like closed quarters type of deal where he's going
Yeah.
through all the skins hanging in the
Yeah, the
basement.
lighting is really good. Like, we'll reveal him. There's that scene where he like reaches there and like a knife just comes out of his hand.
Well, there's
Yeah.
just like there's one point in that scene where he just smiles and it just looks so like sinister. It looks like
Yeah.
he's got like blood on his teeth, kind
Yeah,
of.
and
Like,
then-
it's really evil.
Yeah, and then Boog's
Yeah.
like trying to get out of the basement, and then he's just like banging up like a horror movie, and it's like, okay, this is like
I mean,
executing everything like really well.
And he's singing the like the bear song.
Oh, yeah, the
that he,
lullaby.
like,
Yeah.
while in like a creepy kind of like music box type of way.
Yeah.
he's
And it's
twisting
just
it.
it added to the creepy factor.
Yeah, I
it's,
did like
it's
that
the only scene in this movie where I just 100% think most everything kind of works about it. We kind of pay off like the toilet joke, and like I didn't care about that, but that's
No,
my
yeah.
only flaw with the scene.
Yeah.
When he goes in and he's just like porcelain heaven, like goes in and I'm like,
Yeah, and then they have this
Alright,
kind of
guys.
Not my
reverse
thing.
Goldilocks moment where he eats the food and then sits in the chair kind
Yeah.
of thing. But yeah, I mean, it was an interesting scene for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just visually and dynamically, like, I don't know if there's anything else that really compares to that scene.
No,
in this movie.
it's far the way like the best scene of just like we want to execute this idea and we do that pretty flawlessly.
Yeah, and like
And there's
I,
nothing else in the movie that like it has that kind of execution there.
like there's a lot of plot points that are honestly pretty weak in this movie. Like especially like the flood driving everyone down. Like
that really
was,
confused me. Like Shaw driving his truck and he's just like, I'm gonna get you guys, floors it, and he's like,
He's just driving
he's
that truck
driving
like a
on
boat.
top of
Like,
the water, and I'm like, hold on, that wouldn't do that.
Yeah, like is this a visual gag or like is that like
it's a visual gag to me, Jamie.
I mean, it was funny, but like I don't know, like it. I feel like this movie had like. I feel like this movie had potential when it was originally written, but they just fell short on a lot of the like scene play and things.
Yeah, if you like the premise isn't terrible. It's
I think you
just
can
like
make it work. But
I think you can make it work. I think it's just going for an audience that's not me with kind of a lot of the lowbrow humor.
Yeah.
but like I don't know, I feel like you could make something a little more geared towards me at least. With like the like,
Make something geared
I think
towards Jacob.
everything should be geared towards me is what I'm saying.
You know?
I think like Animals versus Hunter, like a slapstick comedy like that, you could make it work. It's just it's not my cup of tea for a lot of the humor.
I really wish we just had a whole movie about Shaw, because he
Yeah.
was just the funniest and most interesting
He lives at the
character.
end.
And then he got kidnapped as Bigfoot from the two weird humans that he was like,
you said you
"Oh."
saw the second one. Does he show back up?
No.
Okay, boo.
The second one is like...
What's the point?
The second one, it doesn't have
Has
anything to
nothing
do with it. Elliot and whatever her name is has a kid.
Oh.
Yeah, you didn't know that? They
Damn.
have a child.
Okay.
I just forgot
anyway.
everything
Can
about any of
we
these
can we
movies.
talk about how Elliot sucks? Because
Yeah.
I hate
Elliot's
him.
a hear me out for me, sorry.
Okay.
11-year-old me, not 11, I was probably younger than that, but like young me was like, I like Elliot.
Dude, when I was a kid, he was the one I hated the most. 'Cause
I mean, that's fair enough.
I thought his design was so ugly, and I think part of the reason why I didn't like this movie as a kid, because I don't remember if I saw it in the theaters or what, but like I remember
I
like
would rent it for the
I remember
library.
the first time I saw this movie, I saw him on the hood of the truck. Like, I don't know why, but like I had this like reaction of like it was just really gross. Like I thought like that whole scene was just disgusting for some reason. For me as a kid, like
Yeah.
from my perspective, it just like how skinny he looked and like how ugly and weird his design was. I was
I mean,
just
he
like,
does have a giant head and then scrawny little... I'm like looking at the description on IMDb and they say fast-talking one-horned wild mule deer. Mule deer?
mule deer.
I didn't know he was mule. I don't
What's a
really care,
mule
but-
deer?
I think they meant male deer, but I also don't know how...
But they do call him a mule in the movie when the other like herd deer call
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, I don't
But-
know really what... I don't know.
Is
But
that a
yeah, I
thing?
think this is yeah.
Oh my gosh, it is. Oh, it's a species of deer native to western North America, known for their large ears which resemble those of a mule. Oh, maybe that's why they have
Oh.
large ears.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's maybe why Elliot and then the girl deer are like that.
It's
But that's
actually
also very
photorealistic.
weird.
It's actually
I don't. They just made her hyper feminine. I think that's just what
Well,
it
yeah,
was.
but yeah, I think
she's got that curve
She's got
Yeah.
the giant hips.
and that skinny neck.
Yeah, and the giant skinny face and the giant floppy ears.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think my main problem with Elliot is I think Ashton Kutcher is a terrible voice actor.
I forgot he voiced him, to be honest, and I was just listening to it, and I'm just like, I'm just hearing, what was he in, that 70s show?
Yeah, that 70s show was
Yeah, I hear him, and that's
yeah, which I never watched.
Bless
It's
you.
just he has this like whiny tinge to everything he says that's grating. Like I don't love say like Martin Lawrence as Boog in this, but like I feel like if you like Martin Lawrence, like it's an okay performance. Like he's very
Bless you.
he's very expressive in his voice acting. Ashton Kutcher just isn't, and everything kind of falls flat. And it's definitely like one of the worst examples of like heavy celebrity voice casting at the time. And
Yeah, like
I mean, that was all the, like, animation studios, anytime an animated movie would come out, it'd be like, hey, we have a giant cast of people that
it's
are
still kind of
voicing
that today,
Well,
but less.
I mean, in fairness, like they do have to get celebrity cast to promote the movie in general.
Yeah.
Like, because like,
Yeah.
I mean, celebrities like a lot of people don't know this, but like when like casting a movie, a lot of like the cast actually has to like give a certain portion
yeah,
of
no,
marketing. To
yeah,
movies, so.
they have marketing's in their contract.
Yeah.
But like even like recently, like you'll have something like Wild Robot, and that's like
Oh,
Lupita Nyong'o
yeah.
and like Pedro Pascal.
And like
That was, like, the
everyone is
only-
huge.
So
Yeah.
that was the only thing, like, Pedro Pascal did most of the marketing for it, 'cause
Yeah.
he was so popular.
Mhm.
Yeah. And like I get it, they kind of have to hire someone popular, especially if it's like
Yeah.
you know it's
And-
not going to get on
and
screens.
I'm not always like saying like celebrities can't give good performances or be good voice actresses. Like with that like Wild Robot recent example, like I think Lupita Nyong'o is like a really good voice actress, and Pedro Pascal is kind of flat.
Yeah,
So
I think
like
he's a better actor. in
Yeah,
general.
so
I
it's
liked
still-
his. This isn't about that, but I liked his character in it. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think, in terms of voice acting specifically, I was just hearing like him basically like interview voice kind
Yeah.
of a deal.
Yeah.
But
It fit the character in a way, but like, you know.
But yeah, so this is definitely in like the early stage where like I think that wasn't a criticism. So like they didn't really train like Ashton Kutcher or Martin Lawrence that much. I bet they just kind of threw them in a booth and told them here's the script.
They're like, just act like this, and they're like, okay.
Do your
Like Boog just seemed to change his like. I guess he changes his perspective throughout the entire film, but like. There's certain character aspects that just change throughout the entire film.
Well, it's funny to me because you notice in the beginning, like, he's talking so casual. Like, I mean, like, really casual. And then, like, later throughout the movie, he kind of gets way more into character.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny, like, to, like hear that development.
It's the stark, like, difference of that, and you're like,
yeah.
oh.
Because I think at one point he's like the deer asks him, like, oh, are you captured too or something? He's like, no, baby, this is Myra, or something like that. And I'm like, why do you just call him baby? Like, I mean, I guess, different voice actors, different times, but, like, it just seemed like his character, like, changed, like, voice-wise so much throughout the movie.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't watched a ton of Martin Lawrence's stuff from this time period, but I feel like it's pretty consistent with what else he does, like in like Bad Boys or like I think he did Big Mama's House, one of those comedies.
That makes sense.
But like it feels like his performance is in line with that, and if you like those performances, I don't think this is a bad job at doing that. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, I think my big thing with it is that like I think they wrote a character that like didn't fit his acting. Like,
yeah, I do think you're right on that.
And the same with Ashton Kutcher too, but I don't know.
I don't
think Ashton Kutcher is the best voice.
After listening to this, I'm like, that's what I was saying earlier. It's like after listening to this, it's like I could see Martin Lawrence doing a good performance in the future. I cannot see Ashton Kutcher doing a good voice performance in the future after this.
He's not in as many animated movies.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a very good actor. Just like not. I don't think this was his best performance.
Yeah, like if we're comparing him to like someone like Eddie Murphy as Donkey or like John Leguizamo as Sid, it's like those kind of are similar archetypes, but the voice actor kind of makes them work a lot better.
Yeah, you have you have like your twinge on
Yeah.
all of the different characters that make them that. Like
Yeah.
Sid has a very particular voice where if you hear that specific voice, you're like, oh, okay, I reminded me of that. Or
this is the only voice that he did open season. And then a short right after this, and then he did a bunch of Robot Chicken shorts, and that was it.
Oh, does he doesn't? Okay, he might. The Robot Chicken has like shockingly okay voice acting.
He does
Robot
this
Chicken's
on
very
Robot
hilarious.
Chicken.
Okay, I bet he's fine on Robot Chicken.
Yeah, but that's like
that's something where you don't need like that like sophisticated voice acting.
Yeah, but that's his
it's
only.
very crude.
That's his only voice acting.
Very crude.
Except he voice acts on a 2.5 Men. He voice acts as himself on that 70s show and 2.5 Men in some animated.
It's probably like those Community like Christmas specials, but like for those shows.
Yeah, because like there's a 1998 animated That 70s Show special. I didn't know about that.
Oh, he voice acted on. I remember when this came out. He voice acted. This was a Seth MacFarlane type deal. It was called Stoner Cats.
I can see him doing.
Apparently,
okay on, like,
it's not. It's not canceled. It's still going on. I guess it's an adult animated series. It's got like Mila Kunis, Chris Rock, Seth MacFarlane, like.
I mean, Seth
all
MacFarlane will
those.
keep something going forever.
Yeah.
So.
I know. We'll just keep it open ended and be like, guys, it may come back, it may not.
So I don't have a ton else to say about this movie, but I do want to bring up one very weird thing I noticed. There's that scene where they do like the raid on the convenience store and they're eating everything. And everything is generic brand except for Kid Cuisine. Did
Was there Kid Cuisine in there?
Yes. Did anyone else notice it?
I didn't know.
And
I didn't know.
after I saw that, I was like, what other brands do they have? They have no other brand.
they
it's
don't.
just Kid Cuisine.
I guess Kid Cuisine.
I mean, I ate a lot of Kid Cuisines in my days, and now they've destroyed my boy. He does not look like a normal pink. He looks like a weird ass
there's just like
penguin now.
Oh, it's not even like prominent. It's in the background, but it's the only brand on there.
Wow.
It's-
That is strange. Yeah, I guess Kid Cuisine put marketing in this movie.
I was even looking in the credit. I don't know if like you're supposed to put like product placement in credits, but I was looking in the credits to see if like there was like a special thanks to Kid
It was
Cuisine
like
or something.
literally, it's like when they're writing their faces in the window. You've got like generic, no wording pizza. You've got generic bottled soda that says
I mean,
Poppy, I think it says.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
some-
then you've got literally just
Kid
a
Cuisine.
JPEG of the actual Kid Cuisine in the corner.
What is that, hot dogs though?
It's the chicken nuggets.
Oh, okay.
with
It
corn
looked
and-
weird
It's
on the
corn
faded
and mac
glass.
and cheese and the brownie in the middle.
But like, why does that one look so much smoother? Anyway,
I don't know.
Okay, looking it up, Kid Cuisine did have a special meal just for open season
That
in
makes sense.
2006.
That makes
So
sense.
it was a product. It was.
Oh,
it was a product
look, they had open season
yeah,
Kid Cuisine.
It was open season. Kid
I wonder if
Cuisines.
any of those still exist today.
I don't want to know.
I mean, I can see based
Did someone
on.
leave it in the freezer for 2
Well,
decades?
probably.
Oh, I mean,
Someone's grandma's house.
Someone probably has the packaging. Like, you know, there are some people that have absolutely crazy collections.
No, I
of
want the
certain
meal
things.
at though. I
You
want.
want to eat
You
the
wanna
meal?
I want to
the
eat
meal?
I mean,
it.
I can tell that this one is the one that used to just be the full serving. The full container was almost all mac and cheese.
Yeah.
And then it was a side of corn and a brownie.
Okay.
And it was just that whole section is mac and cheese. And then this one is mac and cheese, corn, 3 chicken nuggets, and also
They're
a
probably
brownie or
shaped
pudding.
like boog or something.
No
I'm seeing
trees. They're shaped like trees.
the trees. Okay, I'm seeing the low
But
res
this one,
JPEG.
yeah, the low res JPEG of these things. I remember. I'm looking at this. This is Lion King 1.5. I remember these ones.
I don't.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just branded for the other movie. So
Yeah.
The
Well-
other Robert Ehlers movie. Maybe he's in Cahoots with Kid Cuisine. Maybe.
Oh, they did Ice Age too.
And they did
Kid
Ice Age.
Cuisine just follows them.
Yes, although Roger Ehlers did not do Ice Age, unfortunately.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Kid Cuisine is like, it was like the best but grossest meal you could have as a kid for some reason.
I
don't know.
always loved them, but I also just wanted the ones that were just mac and cheese.
It's probably just
Yeah,
like
but it was
Stouffer's
really
Mac
bad
and
for
like
me.
No, it
Tyson
literally
chicken
is.
nugget.
And it's
yeah.
actually worse than that. It doesn't taste as good as that. Like,
Oh,
I
okay.
remember eating one as an adult. Like, I got one. Like,
Yeah, I wanted to try them again. I was like, oh,
Oh,
god.
no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh goodness gracious. I'm gonna keep the nostalgia in my mind because it's definitely not the same as it was.
Well, I think, is that about it we want to say about the
I
movie?
don't have that much else to say. Shaw is cool, and then nothing else really worked for me.
Yeah.
His character conspiracy theory throughout the entire film just drives the craziness.
Yeah, I think he was the strongest character in this movie, and
Yeah.
everyone else kind of
Dragged him
was
down.
there.
Yeah.
Everyone else
Dragged
was
this movie
there.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then was he Scottish squirrel?
Scottish
Yeah.
He was okay.
he was okay too.
He was just a side
didn't do
character
much,
of let
but-
me speak
Of
some,
all
let me
the
speak some Scottish.
of all
and
the
then-
side characters, he was the most memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all his
Uh,
character did was just speak some random Scottish thing about not touching his tree, and then all the squirrels would go, "Oi!" in
Oi.
the
Yeah,
background.
you
And that's all you need
You've got the
sometimes.
Scottish squirrels, the Latina skunks, and then
Latina skunks.
hey,
No.
what else? What else was there?
What were the ducks? What was their
They were
accent?
like World War.
They were like
One
World
pilot.
War, yeah.
I swear, it sounded like in one scene, Jason Alexander was voicing one of the ducks, and I thought it was so funny for a second because I was like, he's literally the voice of Duckman. Like, that's so funny. But it was not Jason Alexander.
This movie is not classy enough to reference Duckman.
I know, but it would have been so
It's
funny.
not-
But he sounded exactly like Jason Alexander for a second. But maybe I was just hearing it wrong. I don't know. But
This
yeah.
is a Duckman podcast now.
Oh, and then we had the hunter who was possibly naked. We don't know.
Listen, it literally. I understand he was wearing tan pants in the scene where you're watching everything blow up, but when he's running away, he clearly does not have pants
For
on.
context, they were stealing a lot of clothes, and there was an argument when we were watching the last half where one of the hunters runs, and we couldn't tell if he was naked or not.
Everyone else didn't have a booty crack, and he had full. define.
I'm on
cheese.
side naked, but I'm also on side I don't really care
I'd
about the
love to.
argument.
I don't know. It was very
But
funny.
it also
In the
just
middle
seemed
of
like
the
he had
street.
tan pants.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it, but also it just looked like he.
Listen, we're going to the IMDb Parents Guide because they'll know for sure.
Okay, alright. I will say, if we really wanted to pain ourselves to watch Open Season 2, I didn't think it was that bad. I think I haven't watched it one time since I was a child, so I guarantee it's probably not as good.
I'm gonna be
Especially
honest,
since they were all direct to DVD.
Honestly, I think I'm kind of done with Open Season after this.
That's fair
Maybe
enough.
in like a year we'll come back to
Oh, okay. Okay.
anniversary.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure the animation dropped so far in quality because it was a direct to DVD end.
Okay, by the way, IMDb, sex and nudity. After the ending battle with the hunters, a hunter who lost his pants is seen in a crowd running hunter. His bare butt can be seen, but only for 5 seconds, which is long, by the way.
I said his bare butt can be seen. Yeah, I told you.
You can't get anything past the IMDb parents.
You know, I was theorizing maybe
I
they
thought
forgot
maybe
to.
it was
I
tan
forgot
pants.
I thought they maybe forgot to animate his pants, but no, he just
How would
lost
you forget
his
to
pants.
why would you
I've
forget to
seen it
animate the
happen
pants,
before.
but like animate everything underneath?
Okay, I have seen several movies where like clothes will disappear and then come back in the next scene.
Okay.
It's
Well,
so
when we
funny.
watched Elemental, what is it called?
Elemental?
Did
Did
this
that
happen in a Pixar movie?
Well, no, Elemental had a lot of animation fibs where things
Yeah.
would like mess up and disappear and like.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
There was
they
a lot
did.
of things. I remember we would stare at each other in
Alright.
the theater.
I don't. That's like the only Pixar movie I didn't actively watch in theaters. I
It's
watched
not.
it on iPad, so I missed like all the.
I mean,
watched
it
it-
was probably better on an iPad. Like, listen.
I watched Elemental in the like D-box seats where it shakes you the whole time.
Yeah, no.
That was the only.
I've never done the D-box.
That was the
and-
only good way to watch that movie.
It was like we
And
had
it was
the extra
still not-
experience. It wasn't.
But if I was going to do that,
Yeah.
I would do the lamest movie for it, like Elemental. So I think I'm with you.
I remember going and watching Alpha and Omega in 3D. I remember.
Did
that.
you have the D-box seats?
I
don't
was
think they had
alone.
D-box at
My
that time.
my sister, and my dad wanted to watch something else, and I was sent alone as a probably 13-year-old
You
to
can
go
see it.
watch
You can go
Alpha
see a
and
movie alone
Omega
as 13.
in like the expensive seat with 3D glasses, and I'm just sitting here like,
Yeah.
I like wolves.
I like wolves.
I like wolves.
Oh. Well, I think we're just having normal conversation now.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
sorry, I
we've
get off
lost the plot
topic.
on open season.
I get off topic. I'm sorry.
Well, I guess
Yeah,
is that it? Is that our first podcast?
that's our first podcast.
Fourth podcast.
The first podcast that
Editor,
won't be
cut all
lost.
the end of it out.
Yeah, this is like our fourth or like I think it's more than that because we did the like regular movies. before
Yeah,
that,
so
but-
so our name comes from when we tried to do original movies, and then it didn't quite work. And then we tried one with animation, but then we both moved to different places, and then this is our third attempt because we're in the same city now.
we're in the
so-
same room now.
We're in the same room.
I think it's working a lot better because we can actually see who's talking and
Yeah.
who like wants to go next. Like,
Mhm.
so
Even though I'm still kind of staring at the microphone throughout all of this because
yeah,
that's
the
how
microphone
waiting for
is
most
right
of
in
you
front
guys
of us.
to have all the talking points because I'm not the most educated on all of this. I'm like, I just like.
You should have
cool
seen our like
things.
first several podcasts where like some of us would either just like we would just repeat things over and over again.
Once we got to the animation, I feel like it went better, but the
That's
live action
true.
stuff was kind of a disaster.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going very off script.
All right.
very
Well, this has been episode 1 of the Cinema Syndicate.
Yes.
I hope y'all enjoyed. If you want to watch more, we'll be releasing one every. I don't know.
Whenever we get them done.
Whenever we get them done at this point. you
Screw
know.
the algorithm.
Whatever.
We're just gonna get them done when we get them done.
I mean, you could. No.
Screw.
But yeah. Okay.
We need to have at least like 5 before we have a schedule.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Well, everyone want to say goodbye?
No.
Goodbye.
Have a terrible bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.